Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming, casting one more game for you today. How exciting is this? I told you guys earlier in the day that there would only be one cast from me, but look at this second casted game. I couldn't help myself. I get sent this replay, and I haven't seen it yet, but I checked it out on a few sites. Like, I checked out the comments, and it's getting huge accolades. People are saying it's an absolutely phenomenal game, so I am looking forward to casting it. Today's matchup is between mouzMana and roxkisAbver. So Mana versus Abver, Protoss versus Zerg here on Shakuras Plateau. And in my last matchup that I did on this map, I called it Shakuras Plateau, you know, whenever, wherever. And I know it's Shakuras Plateau or Shakuras or whatever, but Shakuras Plateau sounds so much more entertaining, so I'm going to call it that. Shakuras Plateau, Protoss versus Zerg, exciting matchup. Abver versus Mana. Hey-ho, how we doing? So before we get into the action, a few notes. We did just start today our edition of additional casters here in Force Strategy Gaming. Basically, we're going to be highlighting casters in the community for you guys to watch and enjoy and entertain. There's a lot of casters out there. There's also a lot of really good casters who really, I don't think, get the accolades they deserve. So I'm using the success that Force Strategy Gaming has had so far to kind of try to promote other casters out there. That's the goal there. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. But yeah, let's get in the action here. Mana's going to be scouting through Abver's base, seeing no extractor, no pool as of yet, so he's going to probably expect a quick expansion. Going to be moving on down to check that. Might be using his probe to try to go for a pylon block in the middle. Just checking the corners right now, but he's most likely going to be paying attention and trying to do what he can to stop that expansion because he can expect. And sneaky drone over here from Abver, waiting until the probe moves into his base and then going to be sneaking down and dropping that expansion. Very, very stealthy there. That probe deserves an award, but he is no longer a probe. He is now a hatchery, so that's kind of too bad. That's kind of a little bit sad. Extractor going down right now as well for Abver. Now at this point, I mean, now he has checked and seen the fact that there is this expansion. So at this point, Abver is going to be using the drone to try to block this, but it's kind of humorous. Mana must be like, what the F? I didn't see any drone move down, but he didn't see the sneaky drone hiding in the shadows over here. So is he going to be going for a pylon block? No, he's not. He is dropping a forge though, so I'm going to expect something very sneaky from him at some point. Are we going to see a pylon down here? Oh, look at that. I have not seen this game, but that was just some excellent foresight right there. I don't even know how I did that, to be honest with you. Seeing a pylon dropped over here, this is incredibly sneaky. He's going to be placing a cannon somewhere in this direction as well. Moving back inside of Abver's base with his probe. He's just going to be checking exactly what's going on. Wants to see where in progression that pool is. He's going to see it's just about finished, about 3/4 of the way done right now. And now, at this point, you know, Abver doesn't know that it's happening, but the second he sees this forge, he's going to be aware that something's going on. So checking the forge, he knows immediately he needs to look for cannons, and look at this dropping down 3 cannons right now, 1 on the low ground, 2 are right up here by the hatchery. This, of course, is within range of the hatchery, and this puts Abver in quite a bad spot, forced to cancel the hatchery. Going to be moving his drone now, maybe trying to expand at a different location, canceling both cannons. Is he going to cancel this one as well? No, deciding to let it stay, so he's going to leave that cannon there. I'm not sure that's the best decision. Without vision of the high ground, obviously at this point the probe has vision of the high ground, but once this probe vacates, he can just use a roach or something to take out that cannon without taking any damage whatsoever. So we'll see what happens. Bunch of Zerglings out right now. Now over here, what is this? Hatchery going down inside of Mana's base. Abver saying, you're going to try some sneaky BS? I'm going to do the same thing to you. We are having a hatchery go down right inside of Mana's base, so Abver, I cannot believe that. Now, Mana, of course, has no idea at this point. Look at that. That hatchery is going and going, and Mana doesn't have the slightest going for a frontal wall, you know, to stop units from being warped, from being running inside of his base. But this hatchery, buddy, that's not going to bode very well for you. Now, I'm going to guess what's going to happen here is second the hatchery pops up, we're going to see Abver pump out a bunch of units. Now, all he has right now is that spawning pool, so all we can see is Zerglings. Doesn't have that expansion. Bunch of Zerglings runs to the front here. He's going to have trouble against that cannon, but here we go. Hatchery is up. First larva is out. Is he going to make use of that right away? I'm going to hope so. Sitting on a lot of minerals right now, so he's going to want to move into an actual expansion sometime in the near future. Going for a hatchery outside of Mana's base. Holy balls, what is going on? Now, I know this replay got recommended, but I did not know that it was going to be this ridiculous. So we do have a few Zerglings coming in inside of Mana's base from Abver, trying to run some Zerglings in the front wall. That one cannon plus those Zealots are going to do enough to stop it, though. But Zerglings inside of Mana's base right now. Abver going to be going to town here on this pylon, doing what he can. We do have a few units moving forward, going to be taking out this hatchery. I'm not sure Abver is going to be able to keep up with this hatchery. He wants to cause as much devastation as possible, attacking with the front as well for some Zerglings. Now, the Zerglings aren't going to do very well against this cannon, of course. This hatchery starting to take some damage. We do have a queen coming up right now, as well as Zerglings being morphed out. They're going to want to try to take out those zealots, as well as that stalker, as quickly as possible. Queen does end up dying, trying to drop the creep tumor. Is it going to end up going up? No, but realize, again, we do still have this hatchery right outside of Mana's base. So Mana has a hatchery inside and out of his base. Hey, dude, I heard you like a base inside of your base. so Abver getting that hatchery inside the base, trying to still come out with some Zerglings, doing what he can. Back inside of his main, not a whole lot going on. Managing to keep those resources a little bit lower, again, because of this hatchery right here. And I don't think Mana knows about... Oh, yes, he does. He does know about the hatchery outside of his base. Now, the one inside of his base about to drop. He's going to, of course, have to worry about those broodlings that come out the second that he kills that. I'm sure Abver is going to be microing those broodlings, trying to do some damage. Might try to take out that stalker, in fact. I think he may be able to. Stalker moving forward, trying to damage right there. Broodlings coming out, attacking the zealots. We do have some Zerglings in the front right here, trying to pay attention to two things at once. Unfortunately, none of the units drop here for Mana. Mana does manage to keep those alive. Zerglings trying to move in the front, taking out that stalker. They're not going to be able to run through, though. There is no longer a space. Mana did manage to block that off now. Still having that cannon and that pylon over there outside of Abver's base, but not doing a whole lot. Not a whole lot going on inside of Abver's base as well. And we do have 4 spine crawlers right now coming out for Abver, as well as his queen. Wonder if we're going to see some creep spread. Yes, we are. So creep spread going down. Going to be trying to spread some creep inside of Mana's base, if at all possible. We do have a stalker being warped in, probably going to move down, try to do some damage. Again, with all these Zerglings, though, not going to be able to do much. Zerglings try and run forward. They do, of course, have to worry about fire from the cannon, as well as the stalker in the back. Now, the big problem here right now for Mana is that he hasn't been able to expand whatsoever. I'm not all that, I'm a little surprised why he's not using these zealots to break down these destructible rocks. That would be an excellent idea. Get down these destructible rocks, allowing him to go for an expansion, and then do what he can to take out this expansion. Lots of spine crawlers being uprooted right now, going to be pushed forward. They want to be just out of the range of that cannon, if at all possible, but no, trying to move forward to get some vision of the high ground. Gonna use the spine crawlers to start doing some damage as well. Zerglings moving forward, allowing vision of the high ground. Spine crawlers starting to poke and prod, do what they can for damage. Probably gonna see some spreading of the creep as well. Queen's moving forward to engage in the fight as well, dropping down that one cannon. Gonna start poking up here. They still have vision of the high ground right now. That is pretty excellent. What is giving him that? The Overlord giving him vision of the high ground. Doesn't even have to use the Zerglings to poke forward. He's gonna end up killing off these buildings right now. At this point, Mana is in quite a bit of trouble. This is the most ridiculous, unorthodox game I have ever seen. So Spinecrawler is going to be taking out the gateway as well as that forge, no problem. Look at these guys. They're going to town. They kind of look like storks. They're long little necks there. Trying to run forward with those Zerglings, but no force field going down, preventing that. We do have some more sentries being warped in as well, so I don't think Abver is going to be able to get inside of Mana's base. I don't think that's going to happen. He's going to want to try to spread the creep. You can see creep being spread over here. I bet if he puts a tumor over here, it would be out of range of that stalker, and I'm not sure that Mana is going to be able to catch that. Queen sneaking into the base, trying to run away, but a little bit too slow, not able to do so. And what is this bunch of zealots over here? 4 mana. I did not see this. I apologize for that. Bunch of zealots over here. 4 mana. Going to be attacking the mineral line of Abver. So getting that warp gate research in, warping in some units, and then attacking the mineral line of Abver. Abver now finally responding to this, getting a bunch of Zerglings back over here. So finally able to continue that mining. And holy man, what is going on? So he's going to want to, of course, kill his pylon as soon as possible. I'm not sure that he knows that that is actually even there. Okay, so he does know the cannon's there, so he must know something's going on. And he's going to decide not to do anything about it. He needs to take out that cannon. There we go. Finally, moving his Zerglings down. Going to take out the cannon as well as that pylon. This is, of course, very important. So at this point, what we're going to have to see from Mana is getting rid of these destructible rocks. He's going to need to expand. He's going to be in a whole lot of trouble if he doesn't. He's got these spine crawlers poking and prodding at the front of his base, being a very big nuisance. We are seeing some mining over here from Abver at this expansion as well. So that is quite interesting. Taking full advantage of the expansion, not just for the placement of the spine crawlers and for attacking the front wall here, but also just for getting some mining. Why not get some resources from that? So Proxy Pylon has been taken out. Now, something that Mana may consider is getting a War Prism and using that to do another Zealot Bomb here in the back of Abver's mineral line. That could be very effective. He does, of course, have to deal with this, but we do have mounting forces over here right now for Abver. Abver threatening to push forward with those Immortals, going to be forcing Mana threatening to pull forward with those Immortals, going to be forcing Abver to push back at this point with those spine crawlers, move it to a little bit of a safer location. We are seeing kind of a big mount up of forces here, lots of sentries. We got 2 Immortals, 3 Zealots, and 2 Stalkers hanging out right out front of his base, though. He does have all these spine crawlers, Zerglings. Unfortunately, because of this tight kind of corridor right here, it's going to be hard for them to do any sort of a surround. He's going to try to sneak in, especially depending on the placement here of Mana's units. Mana going to be moving forward with these Immortals, start taking out those spine crawlers. You can see just how quickly they can drop that. Lots and lots of damage to armored units, and of course, these buildings are armored, so that is part of the problem there. Now, Abver still not expanding, keeping his resources nice and low. He's been managing to pump out what he can for Zerglings for defense. Also, just taking advantage of this again, fully saturating this. Well, not fully saturating, but doing a good job of trying to saturate that expansion. And look at how quickly those Immortals drop down that Spinecrawler. Spinecrawler goes down in just a matter of seconds and goes back up before he takes any actual hull damage, just losing some of his shield. It's going to let that recharge and go from there. So here we go. Finally, Mana breaking down these destructible rocks, expanding right behind his base. That's exactly what he needed to do to get back in the game here. Without doing that, he would have been in quite a bit of trouble, so good job. Good on him for doing that. Going to be moving back some of these Spinecrawlers. Again, this threat here of these Immortals is just a little bit too much. Going to see a hallucination here of Mana's Phoenix, so going to be using that to get some scouting. He wants to see exactly what Abver's doing as far as expansions, where he is, and also going to be checking his tech most likely. And of course, what we can see here for Abver, no tech whatsoever. Has been not even on a layer at this point. Actually, did he? No, so he didn't even turn this into a layer. So just been sticking with that hatchery tech with speedlings, using the Spinecrawlers and Queens, droning up, and that's been about it for Abver. So not a whole lot going on here. Now, Mana gonna want to try to push out of his base at some point. He does, of course, have to watch this area. He doesn't want Zerglings kind of hightailing it right into his base the second he decides to leave. And where did all of those Zerglings? There we go. So they're back there. Again, Immortals trying to pull forward and taking out a Spinecrawler. Not able to. Zerglings running forward, though, and no force fields from Mana to block the ramp there. So Zergling's going to be able to run in and get a full scout of exactly what's going on, running to the expansion. He is expecting this over here. Going to start attacking some of these probes, I'm sure, but we are getting some Stalkers warped in as well as that one Zealot. So probes are going to be pretty safe. Some Zealots streaming down here as well. Zergling's managed to do not much damage. Checking the back destructible rocks here as well. He's going to see that those are still up, so he doesn't have to worry about 3 expansions from Mana, but he knows at this point that he's got at least these 2 that he has to consider. Now, we are finally seeing a Tech Up 2 layer here from Abver. We can see that layer coming out right now, doing that little inject larva there as well. Finally working on his natural expansion, aside from taking advantage of the natural expansion that he had at Mana. And I'm really surprised he's saturating it this hard. I mean, you know, he does have this natural up. I'm surprised he's not putting more effort into that. Also, you can see his main's pretty dwindled. But, I mean, I guess why not? Why not take advantage of it? He did expand here. Might as well. It's just, I can imagine how daunting and threatening this is. He's going to be paying constant attention to this expansion because he's right outside of Mana's main base. So a push could come at any moment, and it would be pretty devastating very quickly. We do have a Spire coming out right now as well for Abver. So going to be switching into Mutalisk. And here we go. Going to be seeing some action here at the back destructible rocks. Now, of course, Mana will be fully aware of this. He does have the pylon and cannon here. Just going to be using the one to scout at this moment. He wants to see if Mana does end up going for these destructible rocks, trying to take it out to push out. Immortals moving down again, trying to take out the Spinecrawler. Nice transfuse there from the Queen, though, managing to keep it up. And I think that's his game plan here. He's got 3 Queens. He's just going to keep using transfuse to keep these things alive and keep Mana at bay as long as possible. We are, of course, right now seeing some Colossus come out for Mana. So Mana going to be switching to Colossus Tech, also getting that Thermal Lance upgrade, going to allow him to push out of his base finally. Observer over here for Mana, checking out exactly what Abver's got going on. He did just see him highlight that Spire there, so he is aware that the Spire tech is coming out, and Abver is going to be in kind of a tough spot with these Colossus here. There's not much he can do about it at this point. Once that Spire's up, he can do something to manage it. He can get Corruptors or even just Mutalisks to deal with it. Anything, any anti-air is going to work pretty well. He doesn't have anything right now aside from these Queens. He's going to be using the Queens to try to do some damage. Want to see a Transfuse go down on that Queen. Transfuse actually going down on the Spinecrawler right there. Going to be lifting up the Spinecrawlers, moving them back yet again into a safer position. Need another Transfuse there. Zergling's getting roasted there. Finally seeing a push right now from Mana moving outside of his base, using the range of the Colossus to roast these units here. All the Queens dropping. These Spinecrawlers are going to drop shortly thereafter, and I think this expansion is done. So Abver, he had his time in the spotlight. He had his chance here, mining from the expansion of Mana for quite some time, but finally is forced to move. As a result, going to be coming down with this additional expansion. We'd like to see even one more expansion, possibly over here or over here for Abver. Abver taking advantage of this time to try to move back in the destructible rocks. I think he's going to start trying to destroy these right now. There we go. So we are seeing him attacking these destructible rocks. Going to try to take these down and push in, and you know, he is worried about a push right now from Mana, so what he's attempting to do is distract him and force him to focus on defending his own base, because that would be a little. And wow, Mutalisk Cloud coming out right now for Abver. Going to be moving right into the expansion, and this is going to be a huge problem. This is probably going to force Mana to pull his units back, or he's going to engage Abver's base for a base trade, but so many Mutalisk. Death Cloud right here. Also having that air level 1 attack upgrade coming. 2 more Mutalisk en route as well. well. And then here's that expansion again, we can see. So going to be attacking this expansion, and at this point, Mana knows he's too far away from his base. He's not going to be able to properly defend. We are getting these back to trouble rocks just about destroyed right now from these Zerglings. So Abver going to be going to town on the main base here, and all of the probes pulled off the line right now for Mana. Mana knows his base is doomed, so he's going to be leaving. I don't think at this point, does he know about this expansion? Yes, he does. He did send up a scout here to check the expansion, so he's fully aware of the expansion, and we're going to be seeing a base trade go on right about now. Pushing forward with these Stalkers as well as his Colossus, 2 Immortals, and a bunch of Sentries. Going to be taking out this expansion very, very quickly. Zerglings as well as Mutalisks re-rallying in the center. I think they're going to actually pull to engage to try to defend their base, so it's not going to be a full-on base trade. Here we go. Going to be moving down this Mutalisk. Wants to take down this Colossus as soon as possible. Going to be moving in and target firing right now. They're actually going for those Sentries first, it looks like. Taking out the Sentries, then taking out the Colossus. Probably taking out those Stalkers first as well. So yes, Stalkers are going to be dropping. Zerglings did end up getting roasted pretty quickly. We do have some more Mutalisks coming out right now, but this is just too heavy of a death ball from Abver because of the fact that Mana wasn't able to expand for so long. His forces are not nearly as strong right now as Abver's. So Abver going to be taking out all those Stalkers. Colossus trying to take down that layer with these Immortals should happen pretty quickly, but again, he's got very little anti-air right now and still a bunch of Mutalisks sitting here from Abver. Going to be taking out those Stalkers as well, and now the Colossus as well as that Immortal is going to drop, and there's nothing at this point that Mana can do. Mana is in just a whole heap load of trouble right now. Going to be losing these Colossus just about now. Although Abver has lost his base, he doesn't have any expansion right now. Trying to actually come down with a hatchery here in the corner. Probe's going to be engaging in the spawning pool, trying to take it out. One last ditch effort, but no, I think that's about it. We do have some Zelds being rallied over here. They do just need to take out that one hatchery, and we also have some extractors over here, Spire and spawning pool. So if he can take out those buildings, he actually wins the game. Again, we can see here Mana does still have quite a few buildings. Mining with a few probes, going to be proxy mining all the way back to his nexus over here. And here come those Mutalisks, and that's going to pretty much nullify this attack from this small force here, and trying to just circumvent the Mutalisks. He doesn't want to be spotted. He needs to go into that base and destroy what few buildings Abver has left, but Abver coming up with an additional hatchery. And again, he does have all these buildings left, but no, looks like Mana is not going to be attacking these Zealots. Oh yes, he is finally. So going to be moving forward, taking out these Zealots, and once those Zealots drop, I think that's pretty much the end of the game for Mana. Mana has no direct mining going on right now. You can see again, he just does have this proxy mining, and there's just a few too many buildings and way too many Mutalisks right now for Mana to deal with. So Abver, great job. This has been an absolutely absurd game. I cannot believe that it progressed the way it did. This is not what I expected at all. I knew that this was considered a solid game, but I didn't know why. And just seeing that proxy hatchery outside the base, that spine crawler attacking, just absolutely absurd. Now at this point, it's pretty obvious that Abver wins the game. There's not a whole lot going on right now for Mana. There's not a lot he can do. Again, one nexus here, proxy mining from the middle patch over here. Gonna be losing his probes right now. Mutalisks moving in. As soon as they take out those last probes, that's pretty much the end of the game. And the Mana's just staying in. I'm not sure what he's expecting to do at this point. There's not a whole lot. He does realize, obviously, that Abver doesn't have a lot of buildings right now, but the problem is, look at this unit tab. We've got 2 observers and 4 probes here for Mana, so that's not a lot. He's not going to be killing a whole bunch with that. Losing these probes right now, down to 1 probe, and last probe goes, and a G and G from Mana, so good game from both players. Holy crap, what a game, guys. Unbelievable. Glad I casted it for you. Hopefully you guys enjoy the cast. As always, this has been Force from Force Strategy Gaming. Keep watching and keep owning. So it's going to hit some Banelings before they can get in and kill a few of them as well. So really good job, but this is a lot of units. So again, I am not sure quite how this is going to turn out right now for pros. Lots and lots of Banelings. We can see 16 Banelings, 63 Zerglings right now to 23 Marines and 2 tanks. It's really going to be dependent on how that tank fire goes and what he can do. Here we go. Hey Pro is going to be moving up right now, moving down with the Banelings. Going to be moving in the same direction. Looks like, is he moving down the mineral line? No, going to be taking out that engineering bay, then moving on into that bunker. Zerglings trying to move forward. Marines blocking the path there, pulling back though. Some great micro. It's going to be hard. Lots and lots of Zerglings though. Is he going to do enough damage? But no. Look at that carnage. Look at that pool of blood right there. So many Zerglings lost. Look at that tank fire. 13 kills, 9 kills. Those tanks going absolutely